This is the fifth video on the topic loops. In this video, we are going to see the difference between the code and variables inside the loop and outside the loop. What does that mean? What does inside the loop and outside the loop mean? I will explain. First, let us compare the code which we write inside the loop and outside the loop. I am going to explain the difference between writing statements below the for loop and writing statements outside the for loop. So how will Python know which statements are within the for loop and which statements are outside the for loop? So all the statements from this first statement after the for up to the statement without the tab space is the code block for the loop. When we start writing code without tab space, Python will know that the code block for the for loop should stop before this sentence. Let us go to Python and see an example so we can understand it very clearly. This is the same code we wrote in the last video. Now let me add one more print statement here saying print within single quotes for loop is complete. So this statement is outside the for loop because we did not press tab. There is no space between the starting to this print. So the first two statements are within the for loop because there is tab space, and this statement is outside the for loop. Now let me save the file and run the code. You can see that the two statements inside the loop are printed 5 times, but this sentence, which is for loop is complete, is printed only once. So the statements we write with tab space after the for loop statement will be run many times depending on the start and stop value. But all the statements after that will be run only once because they are not inside the loop. Also, all statements within the loop have to be indented. This means that we have to have tab space. We should not write one statement in between without tab. This will give error. So let me remove the indent from here. Now save the file and run the code. See, this is an error. So now let us add the indent again, which means I am adding this tab space again. Now save the file and run the code. So the error is fixed. So you understood the difference between writing code inside the for loop and outside. Second, let us look at variables. What happens when we print I after the loop? Inside the loop, we know that the value keeps changing, right? What happens when we write after the loop? When I print I outside the loop, it will have the value that was in the memory last before leaving the loop. Do you remember we spoke that Python will keep only the last value? So the variable I will have the value 9 in memory. So when we print the variable outside the loop, it will only print 9. So let us add another print statement here saying print the last value of I is %d, then percentage within brackets I after the loop. So because it is outside the loop, we have not given tab space. So now let us save the file and run the code. See, the last value of I is printed as 9. So I hope you were able to understand between the code and variables which we use inside the loop and outside the loop. It is very simple. The code inside will be run many times depending on the start and stop value, but the code outside will be run only once. So I have explained for loop in very detailed way in all these videos. So in the next video, we are going to see our assignment and we are going to write some really cool programs using for loop. Are you ready? We will start in our next video. See you soon.